Welcome into the Sports Buffoons podcast. Welcome back in, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, back into the Sports Buffoons studios here in Lenexa, Kansas. To my right over here, we have Tanner Dawson.
What's up,
and
everybody?
To my left, we have Jason JG. What's up, guys?
What's up, yo?
Welcome back in once again. We're hitting up the TikTok here lately on our show, by the way, if you guys haven't noticed. So give us a follow on that. We actually will be doing some TikToks later this evening as well, going over a little bit of our rundown of the AFC East, as a matter of fact.
Correct.
So look forward to that on the way. We put out some good content, though, recently, I think, as far as we gave our thoughts about the Chiefs preseason Week 1 game, those kind of things. So, I mean, we're going to be on there all season long. So definitely give us a follow in there. Also, if you guys could, like, subscribe as well to the YouTube channel. This is our favorite thing we do. As you can see, we're collectors, too. So we like to show off some of our memorabilia along with it. But what you guys sipping on over there? Jason, you got something here in the camera frame, but our helmet's blocking it. And
partially blocking
And I'm just curious. I don't think the people watching at home can tell what that is. What do you got over there?
Well, it's my little secret, so I'm going to move it into the frame right now. This is called Capriccio Sangria, and it's the watermelon flavor. It's amazing. It's 13.9%. That's all you need to get
That's all that
going.
matters, right? 13.9?
Yeah, it's better than caffeine in the morning.
Dude, if you go to Las Vegas, that's probably the best drink. Just get one of those and walk around the strip, and then you're good all day, really. Better than those long, necklace drinks that they put out there. It's like $25. So, Tanner, what are you drinking on?
I don't actually have no clue, Mike. What are we drinking?
We're doing Wild Turkey right now.
Wild Turkey.
So Wild
all
Turkey 101. You don't get the 81 crap. Screw that. We don't have time for the 81. We need the 101 at all times. You guys know what I'm talking about out there. Mm-hmm. So that's what we got to roll with. And I got myself a little Chalk Tease Buzzball. So
you liked that last time.
It's really good. Super
Yeah.
good. So I recommend these for anyone out there that has not tried the Buzzballs yet. Definitely go for those. But we got a lot to talk about today, guys. We got some fantasy coming up later on in the show. We got a lot of Chiefs talk. But, considering we're all sipping on some drinks right now, and we have some new fast food restaurants around town, if you guys haven't noticed, we got ourselves a little Torchy's Tacos going on. I mean, we had one at State Line for a while, but, now we have one in Olathe.
I still haven't had it.
There's another
haven't
one.
had it.
Where is the other Torchy? There's like 3 Torchies out here by now. That place is solid. I love it.
Lawrence,
Oh, they have one?
State Line, and...
Oh, 135th. 135th has one as well.
Oh, they do?
135th
I didn't know that.
and Metcalf. Yes, right over there where the old Chicago used to be.
Yeah.
Remember that one? It's in that old Chicago. It's in that same one, yeah.
All right.
So super awesome. But so my point was, guys, like I'm just thinking about this a little bit ago, is like what would be the best, your top 3 fast food restaurants in this area? I mean, for me, I'm simple. I'm a simple man. I love me some Taco Bell. Always will be number 1 in my heart. Jack in the Box is up there. But I gotta say Torchy's these days. It's my top 3.
That good.
Oh, Torchy's is amazing.
That good.
Well, it's okay. It's sit-down fast food. Let's be honest. They serve margaritas though.
Yeah, they got margaritas.
They serve
I've
margaritas.
seen on Max's videos, so...
Yeah. What do you guys like?
I would like to be exclusive to this area, but I can't do it because my number 1 of all time is In-N-Out Burger, which is primarily on the West Coast. My number 2 is Jack in the Box. Those burgers are awesome. And my number 3 is going to have to be Culver's, Tanner. I think you might know a thing or two about Culver's these days.
He does know a thing or two, or
but
5.
Before you go, I just got to throw out there, not a big fan of Whataburger. And
I haven't tried it yet.
We'll find
either.
out.
There's another one.
You guys know I'm the biggest fan of all time of Patrick Mahomes. I couldn't disagree with him more on the Whataburger bullshit. I don't want to see it in town.
Well, it's... Buildings knocked down over there on 135th.
Nasty-ass fucking burgers. I had it in Houston less than a year and a half ago.
We have 30 on the way. You know there's 30 Whataburgers coming out in this area? They're going to be everywhere.
I'm just warning you guys. I'm saving you guys the trouble.
I'll let you know. Oh, so for mine, real quick, guys, it's pretty easy. I mean, Culver's is, of course, tops because you can't beat Culver's. Taco John's would be my next one, and I do love me some Slim Chicken. So.
Ooh, Slim Chickens is a good choice.
I do love some Slim Chicken.
I gotta say, if I'm leaning healthier, like Chick-fil-A, Slim Chickens are up there for me without a doubt. Those guys are good.
Oh, I love that stuff.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that stuff. Did you guys see, though, in the news recently, obviously, the NFL's cracking down on taunting right now, and a lot of that stems from our guy, Tyreek Hill,
yes.
I think.
Really, a lot of it. is definitely part
and
of that.
The thing is, if there's 2 taunts in one game, then the player is ejected. Now that is the rule.
Gosh.
And so we saw this played in week 1 of preseason. The Colts running back, I can't remember his name at the moment, but he had a great 20 to 30 yard run. He was excited. He got up. He flexed a little bit. He just happened to subtly flex over the defender that he had just basically trucked, and they threw a flag on him for that. And I thought that was ridiculous. I mean, this is going to get stupid.
It's excessive.
This is going to get stupid.
You're going to kick out a good player possibly this season that has no for simply celebrating that their run and they maybe ran somebody over. That's no reason for it.
Right, and especially that player for the Colts. I thought it was just a great run, and the dude was excited. He was pumped. He had a great run. That was it.
Yeah.
He wasn't the thing that I read today from on Yahoo actually was about Tyreek Hill and his peace sign and that kind of thing, and
backflips in the end zone.
How then they were then upset because Antoine Winfield Jr. Kind of had some rebuttal basically in the Super Bowl. Where he then, at that point when the Chiefs were down and out, was taunting over Tyreek Hill with the peace sign, it's like we're all adults here, and we're also in the NFL in this case, and so I don't think this should be such a big issue like it is, and they also didn't like how Tyreek did a backflip going into the end zone against the Buccaneers in the regular season.
Yeah, that was great,
and so that bothered the NFL as well. I mean, this truly is the no fun league, and that's all thanks to Roger Goodell.
It really is.
It really is all things.
Jason, my biggest problem with this new rule is the fact that the NFL is basically alienating their fan base because you can talk to anybody. We all want to see taunting. Nobody, you can talk to anybody on the streets, all of your friends. I mean, it's a very small percentage of people that will tell you, no, I don't want to see taunting. It makes the game fun. And it's just one of the things, it's kind of like the icing on the cake, It's like we all love the NFL, but when you throw in the taunting, that's kind of like the icing on the cake. It just makes it better. And so if you're the NFL and Roger Goodell, why would you not want to make your sport better? And that's the biggest problem I have with it. They're taking something little away from the sport that people look forward to.
The NFL really cares mainly about money. And at the end of the day, they can use this as a way to also find players more often than before. And you'll see that happen without a doubt. I mean, Tyreek Hill will be getting fined something ridiculous, like $15,000 or more for doing the peace sign. That is the most ridiculous thing.
But
I've
again,
ever
you're
seen.
alienating your fan base because nobody wants to see Tyreek Hill get fined. That doesn't make your sport better.
What is this, baseball? Is this baseball? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, I don't want
no
to
bat flips or what?
That.
Yeah, no bat flips.
Well, in baseball you can do bat flips, right?
Well, for now, until they take that away.
But I mean, you could be happy about your success and do bat flips of a home run. But in the NFL, you get an 80-yard play, and if you stand up and flex too hard, then they're going to throw a fit.
Hey, this could also be another professional sports here. Well, like baseball's trying to do is gain fans. NFL's like, oh, we have fans, we're the best, so we can do whatever we want.
The bottom line here is that the NFL is turning into a nanny state or a police state, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. It's ever since Roger Goodell came into office, basically, is when everything became an issue. They started saying you can't use the pylon as a prop, and from there everything escalated on downward from there to where now you can't dunk over the goalpost and so on and so on and so on. Reminds me a little bit of the world we live in today overall, as far as you give them an inch, they take a mile, and then they just push until it's like, okay, this sucks.
Yep.
Now, not the product of the NFL is not going to suck anytime soon because you still got the best athletes in the world competing every day. But I think they're losing sight over what is really going on with the game and what the fans are there for, which is entertainment. At the end of the day, fans are there for entertainment.
Chad Ochocinco explains it day in, day out. What he talks about, the way he played this game. He is an entertainer.
Yes, and he knew that.
He's an entertainer,
yes,
but he's also a football player, and he did both.
Yeah, you can be both, and we're not going to get upset if someone wants to do a little peace sign here and there after a successful play. But we'll see how things unfold throughout the season, you guys, and see what kind of random crap comes about. Because let's keep in mind, it's like pass interference. It's also subjective. Taunts are also subjective. If the defensive back gets up and does the incomplete, swooping of the arms, back and forth, I mean, that is technically a taunt. Dude, are we going to throw a flag on that?
We're going to see ejections left and right.
Because guys like Champ Bailey back in the day, and really every other corner for that matter, Rashad Fenton does it.
Everybody does it.
Everyone gets up.
Everybody
and
does
they
it.
do the crossing arms and swooping kind of motion, and to basically show the incomplete pass sign.
It's going to hurt teams. It's going to hurt some teams.
It's going to be an issue. I hope it's not, but I'm hoping they're trying to crack down early, and that way they'll leave it alone when the season rolls around. But all right, guys, we had a lot to get to though. The Kansas City Chiefs obviously just had our game here a few days ago. Week 1 preseason against the 49ers. Ended up winning the game 19-16 due to a last minute, I should say, touchdown from four-string quarterback Shane. I'd even say is it Bobby Boucher?
Bouchel.
Shane Bouchel.
I wanted to say Bobby Boucher, but then I had to say Bouchel.
Bouchel.
And he was not very good for most of the game that he was in. But that last drive came about, and all of a sudden, made a few plays here and there. And I think Jody Fortson had a good catch at the end, and then so did Cornell Powell on that drive, I believe.
Yeah, so, Cornell had a couple good catches on the drive.
Yeah. So, but overall, the game itself, I mean, it's Week 1 preseason, guys. There was not a lot to look for. The starting offensive line played a total of I think 11 plays or so.
Yeah.
Mahomes played 4. Chad Henne played 1 series. And that was it. So, but I really, really liked what I saw from the offensive line in the beginning, as far as especially that first play with Clyde Edwards-Helaire getting an easy 10-yard pickup to start the game off. I mean, that just shows you things to come when it comes to the push they're going to get up front as far as in the run game, in the power run game, that's not something that the Chiefs have been known to do at all in recent times. So, anyways, you guys, just some thoughts on what you saw in the Chiefs game and just what you're looking forward to. Who could maybe make this team based off what we saw in Week 1?
Yeah, I mean, my biggest takes from the game, I would say, is kind of like that third-string quarterback battle that you're talking about between Shane Bouchel and Anthony Gordon. Anthony Gordon, I thought, looked good. I mean, he was 11 of 17, 79 yards. The other thing I looked at is the fact that the D train looked like shit. I mean, we all know he's going to get cut. It's just inevitable at this point. He had 4 carries for 12 yards. As you alluded to earlier, Jody Fortson looked good. I mean, he had 3 receptions for 32 yards. Jerick McKinnon, my guy.
Yes.
He had 3 carries, 19 yards, 6.3 yards per carry, 2 receptions for 21 yards. Byron Pringle had a touchdown. I think all 3 of us are in on Byron Pringle this year.
Yeah, he should be fine.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Cornell Powell, I like what I saw from him. And then Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 4.0 yards per carry. So as far as the offense is concerned, I mean, I could take a lot from this game.
The biggest disappointment, though, Noah Gray with a couple drops, I felt like, during the game. That was very frustrating to see.
He did have the one that was behind him where he did have to turn. That's fine. But, yeah, he did have
there was another one. He was running kind of a vertical route, and he did stretch out for it. It just looked like a play to me. He needs to make that play.
It was a doable play.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was the issue.
Yeah, I was disappointed in that, but that's kind of one of the guys I'm most looking forward to when we go into that second preseason game against the Cardinals. I want to see what Noah Gray can do.
It's a battle for that spot right now because I think Blake Bell is solidified as the number 2 tight end because of his blocking ability. He's a great blocker. In fact, he was the best blocker according to Pro Football Focus for the Dallas Cowboys last year at tight end. So I think that third spot, though, between Jody Fortson and as well as Noah Gray is up for grabs. I have a feeling we're going to have all 4 of those tight ends on this team this year. So I think they're all going to make the team. But Jody Fortson is looking really good overall. Like he actually weighs 244 right now. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
Yep.
That was his weigh-in, which is great compared to, I think he was his last weigh-in that I saw when he was wide receiver was like 215 or something like that. So
he was a skinny guy last year.
He's put on a lot of weight, which is needed for a tight end, of course. So, anyways, I'm interested to see how that kind of unfolds on that end. But
yeah, I totally agree with you, Mike, and I have no problem. I know my boy over here, Tanner, has no problem carrying 4 tight ends on the team.
Not at all.
So
let's go.
Let's do it.
Let's go. Ain't gonna hurt at all.
Well, guys, they don't need to keep Mike Burton the fullback. You can use Blake Bell as a fullback in certain situations, and they actually did it in the preseason game as well. So keep that in mind. Is that if you want to keep 4 tight ends, you could probably cut Burton and not really lose much. And as far as the impact, the Chiefs don't use fullbacks that often anyway. We know that with Anthony Sherman.
Correct. Yeah,
and Sherman was a Pro Bowl fullback, so
he was. But yeah, I mean, you don't need a fullback really. So, hey, some of my takes off here was actually on the defensive side to see. I was really impressed with Amari Cobb. He was in there multiple times in the backfield. He was also making some plays, stopping the run. I liked him seeing in the trenches and then hearing Mike Dana's name a lot, which was really nice to hear. And Mike's guy that he talked about a little bit on TikTok or presented some stuff. Tim Ward.
Yeah.
Tim Ward, man. The guy.
No one's talking about him still.
No.
So the guy has 2 sacks in the preseason game, and still no one even says his name. I don't understand why he's being ignored.
He's nothing.
Makes no sense to me. He, this is his second year in the NFL now, and he came from Old Dominion, which that amounts to nothing. That's a tiny school, an undrafted free agent kind of guy. Just turned 24 years old, 6'6", 255, and the thing is, he used to be a wide receiver in high school, so he's got some speed, and he's just bulked up over the years.
He has agility,
and he's just fast, quick, powerful now at this point. And what I was posting on TikTok recently was just that the dude had a sack in Week 17 on Justin Herbert in the Chargers game when the Chiefs played all their backups last year. So in his first game ever in the NFL, because he never played preseason, we didn't have one last year. First game ever, gets a sack, as well as 5 tackles in that game. And then here we are in preseason Week 1, gets 2 sacks, 5 tackles, led the team in tackles, as a matter of fact. No one else had more than 5. And then 2 tackles for loss as well. Total on there. So it's the dude has got some talent, and so 3 sacks now in 2 full games played. Well, I can't say full, but 2 games played now in the league. And we're looking at our defensive end situation where, Frank Clark's irritating. He's injured again. He's got a hamstring going on.
It's not serious, what Andy Reid said. He's not concerned about it.
Well, sure, but also is it not getting old, Frank Clark constantly having little things here and there, whether it's off the field or on the field?
Yeah, true.
He's nagging injuries. Those things are annoying.
Alex Okafor, another concern.
Right, with the injury history,
consistently
that's a thing, without a doubt. And it's frustrating because we have Tim Ward buried down the depth chart behind Taco Charlton, like you said, Mike Dana, Alex Okafor. Kane Doe is a rookie that was just drafted from Florida State. And Kane Doe didn't do anything in the game. He did nothing.
Absolutely zero.
But it's how does this guy fit on the team? I don't really know yet how he's going to fit on this roster in the D line, because I think they're going to keep all 4 of the tackles between Wharton, Kalen Saunders, Jerron Reed, and Derek Nottie.
Correct.
But on the outside, I think you can only keep 5 DNs. Personally, that's what I feel like. So at some point, Tim Ward might be the odd man out in that, just because of where they have him ranked.
Yeah, but it'd be pretty unfortunate to see that. I mean, hopefully they can get Ward in like they did last year, and maybe let Okafor go, who was the last-minute sign. But, I mean, only time can tell as we go from here. Who knows what'll happen. Something interesting too. I was really disappointed in the linebacking core, the depth side. I didn't think Neiman performed really well. I was disappointed in Daniel, Darius Harris, which we're not fans of. But Riley Cole, who I believe they just recently sign him.
He's part of the undrafted free agents. We've had him on the roster now throughout this offseason.
That's what.
So he's not newly signed. He's just an undrafted free agent.
Undrafted free agent. Yeah. So we got Riley Cole in there, but he didn't perform really well. The linebacking core alone was really disappointing. But I love seeing guys like Mike Hughes in the corners, Mike Hughes, Rashad Fenton, and DeAndre Baker getting lots and lots of playing time this last game, and they looked pretty good.
You guys realize DeAndre Baker was targeted 6 times in this game, gave up 0 catches completed against him.
He looked good,
and he did have a quick injury that happened on the field, but he got up, he was on, and back in again.
He was fine.
So if DeAndre Baker can come in and play the way he showed in the preseason Week 1, the guy, they have something on their hands right there, because they have a true nickel at that point where Mike Hughes, doesn't need to be the immediate starter at nickel.
No.
I think that I would love to see DeAndre Baker play more of that kind of role in that situation, or at least be able to fill in outside too if we need him to.
Yeah, and we're also talking about young guys, right? Young guys from the game as well. Devon Key guys. Devon Key gave up that big play. Mm-hmm. He misread it, and he gave up that touchdown. Mike was upset about it. It's a young guy thing right now, trying to figure out the game, the speed, and everything, especially in the first preseason game. But, man, when you're competing for a spot in that secondary, those are key moments. Those are key moments, and it's going to be hard to get those back. You got Amari Watts, who's been right there, and also Rodney Clements. You don't forget him, that he's been in and out of the Chiefs organization as well. So, I mean, those are 2 guys right there that could potentially take spots if you give up those big plays.
Yeah, I think the main thing to have to go along with that, though, is that the Chiefs have hyped up Devon Key at this point. I mean, that was their number 1 undrafted free agent acquisition. That is the number 1 guy on their list that they wanted the most, was Devon Key, after the draft ended. And they got him. And so, with that said, it's he pretty much put in this role where he was already ahead of Amari Watts right away from day 1. And Amari Watts has been in the league now for going on 4 years. So he's already ahead of him. And then, got put ahead of Juan Thornhill even. And so they wanted Key to be their number 3 safety, But after he got sucked inside on that route and then went over the top on a wonderful pass, by the way. So, got to give credit where credit's due without a doubt. But I think the Chiefs were frustrated because Jason, if we've seen throughout the week now in practice, we've seen them mixing in different safeties for that third safety spot and that role in the defense because the Chiefs do like to use 3 safeties quite a bit. Now, the 2 main starters are still right now Daniel Sorensen, Tyrann Mathieu, of course, and so they filtered in a little bit of Armani Watts, and they filtered in, as of today, as a matter of fact, Zane Anderson. And so something about Zane here is that he came from BYU. So they're kind of looking at him. He's literally like the same exact size as Daniel Sorensen, who also went to BYU. And we all know Andy Reid likes his Mormons.
He loves his Mormons.
Andy Reid loves his Mormons. So the thing is, like, I really think that the Chiefs are wanting to find a reason to keep him on the roster and to maybe be Sorensen's eventual replacement, considering Sorensen's aging. He's 30 now. So I think that they see him as a young Daniel Sorensen. But, Jason, what are your thoughts on the current defensive situation in the secondary when it comes to the safety situation?
I love to see the battles. I mean, they need to see what they can get out of these guys. And the biggest reason for me is the fact that Daniel Sorensen, we all know he's unvaccinated. So we don't know what's going to happen this year as far as is he going to miss a game? Is he going to miss a few games? We don't know what's going to happen with that. So that third safety position is very important to me. And I think Juan Thornhill is going to be he's going to be dependable, I think, this year. And so I think we're just trying to get a look at some of these other guys. But I love to see the battles. That's the main thing.
So do you have any concern with Juan Thornhill playing almost the entire game? Outside of, I think he played up to the 4th quarter. And then he also worked with the 3s as well that following training camp.
I trust him at this point, but I think right now it might be a situation where Andy Reid is not, I don't want to say punishing him, but he's trying to let him know, hey, we're not guaranteeing you a spot, as far as being a starter or whatever. I mean, like, you're going to have to earn your spot. And so I think with Thornhill, I think he's trying to just sit him down, see how he reacts to that. How is he going to react to all these guys playing ahead of him? Yeah. So that might be like a psychological thing.
Yeah, well, he did do the press conference, which helped comfort myself, at least, on the Juan Thornhill situation. So Andy Reid just said, quote, he's just working him back in. They mix him around, so I wouldn't take anything from it. He's just working through it, unquote. So that's talking about his injury, so his ACL injury from 19. He felt he wasn't himself when he talked to the media throughout 2020 until towards the end of the season, which then we saw Juan Thornhill come out, was at the end of the season last year. So I think Andy Reid is kind of being that guy like, hey, I need you to be a hot start, and I need you to be hot early. I don't want none of this moping around for 15 games of the season. I need you there throughout the whole season.
Right, and I think, like I said, it's a psychological thing. How do you feel when you see all these guys running ahead of you? And that does a lot of things to some guys' psyche, where they don't want to see these guys running ahead of them. Yeah. And so that could be a motivational tool that Andy Reid is trying to use.
I hope so.
You got concerned about any more Juan Thornhill stuff?
I mean, I'm concerned about it because, first of all, I like Juan Thornhill.
Yes.
I think he's got potential to still be a really good player for this team. And so whenever you see him, first of all, I showed up early to camp with the rookies and quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times when guys are coming off injuries, that's what they do, is they show up early along with the rookies and quarterbacks. In this situation, it was just kind of weird to me that was the case, because that might mean to me that there was a little something more deep to the injury than what we realize. And he did struggle coming back from it last year.
Yes.
He absolutely struggled with the groin injury as well. And so that was the thing, is like, I don't know what to think of him, because we've seen different versions of him. The rookie year Juan Thornhill was phenomenal. I loved rookie Juan Thornhill all year long, amazing. And then gets injured in the playoff game, and we haven't quite seen the same player come back since then. And that is frustrating, especially considering, I mean, the dude was drafted as a steal basically just a few years ago, and a team captain, and also an experienced guy. He's 25 years old, about to turn 26 in October, so he's a little overaged, which actually helped his production, I think, as a rookie coming into the NFL as an older guy rather than a 21-year-old. But no, I'm concerned at the moment, because the Chiefs are actually trying to find guys to replace him at the moment, or who's going to stand out, who's going to step up. And so Armani Watts worked in with the ones as well this week in practice. The Chiefs are filtering through who's going to be that third safety on this roster. Some people out there listening might not be like, oh, who cares about a third safety? No, it's actually very vital and important on the way the Chiefs run their defense. So it is something that the guy's going to be on the field half the time, given the way we play our style of defense. So it's just something to watch for, and I hope that he does prevail, but also, I'm hoping to see better of Devon Key as well, and hope he can show better than what he showed in preseason week 1. So, anyways, that's my thoughts on that. So, guys, the Chiefs play here coming up. It is ESPN, by the way. We are on, quote, Monday Night Football on Friday night here. So it'll be the Chiefs and Cardinals week 2, which will be the one where we see the most action from the starters. We will see Andy Reid talked about it, which we know Andy Reid enough by now. He says the first string will work in for first quarter, second string, second quarter, and then from so on. Where I think we're going to see the Chiefs' first string probably do a full first quarter, or close to it, and get Mahomes and co. kind of in comfortable kind of states with the offensive line as well as receivers. Maybe get Hardman more involved, considering he didn't have a catch in the first game, and so go from there. But what are you guys looking forward to seeing in this Week 2 game where we'll see a larger portion from the starters?
Yeah, for me, it's all about the offensive line, and I just want to see how these guys are going to gel together. So I want to see their chemistry get better, because it's a brand new offensive line, and we all know the most important thing about offensive line is the chemistry. And so it's all new, and I want to see these guys play together as a unit. And Trey Smith, I think he's going to be like the diamond in the rough. I think Trey Smith is going to be an amazing player.
Oh, by far. I think he's going to be a mauler.
He's going to be awesome.
He and Chris Jones at camp has been amazing to watch. Battle back and forth. It's been great.
Yeah, and to think that we got Trey Smith in the 6th round, if he just turns out to be maybe a potential Hall of Famer, that could be the steal.
It was a steal. You know why? He had blood clot issues actually coming out. So, and so he fell down the charts where he probably would have been honestly like a 3rd round pick.
Yeah, I was going to say 3rd.
I was going to say he'd be probably
third,
a 3rd.
maybe
if he was
really
completely
4th.
healthy on the reports, it'd be like a 3rd round pick. And I think Will Shields was a 3rd round pick from Nebraska.
Yeah.
So
hey, I'll take him.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Chiefs did get a steal as well.
I heard if healthy he would have been a 1st or a 2nd, but
that's hard to do as a guard. Very hard to do. Yeah. But the guy 4-year player, team captain kind of dude. That's got pedigree written all over it.
He is that kind of talent, and I'm just excited to see those guys get better as a unit. So that's what I'm going to be looking at first and foremost, is that offensive line, because that was the Chiefs' weakness last year, and we all know that this year it's most likely going to be a strength. And so I want to see those guys get better week to week.
Yeah. Oh, that's fair. That's fair right there. So my big thing actually is in this game is I want to see a Mikkel Hardman breakthrough. I want to see him bounce back from this first preseason game, and I want to see at least 2 quarters of playing time. The guy needs to have at least 2 quarters of playing time, because he needs to just get out of this funk that he's in, all the bashing he's taking. He's seen it, because he blocked a lot of people too over the one pass he received. And he took contact. I'm not bashing him for that. I think the guy, I'm looking for a breakout game from him, just something to get some confidence rolling and get that wide receiver 2 talk started again. So I'm looking for him. I'm also hoping to see a little bit more from the linebacking core, linebacking depth as we go through the game. That's it's another concern for us. So hoping to see those 2 things this game, but I'm really excited just to watch it.
Yeah, I have a question for you guys, both of you right now. If you had to pick a WR2 right now for this team after Tyreek Hill to be on this field, 80% of the plays, do you take Byron Pringle or Mikkel Hardman?
Ooh. I like the question. I'm going to have to go with Hardman.
I think I'd go Hardman as well.
Gotcha. I was just curious because production-wise, when you're on the field, I see way more production from Byron Pringle than I do Mikkel Hardman. And I think Hardman might work better as a slot receiver in this case. But we'll see how things play out. But I was curious about that because when we look at the way that the roster is constructed right now, the Chiefs originally drafted Mikkel Hardman as an idea of having a vertical threat to potentially replace Tyreek Hill. Turns out Tyreek's staying for quite a while, which is great. But I just think maybe more of a possession guy who can run good routes and just kind of has a better knack for the game might be a better role for that WR2. Whereas like Hardman, like last year he left a lot on the table.
Yeah.
The guy had a lot on his plate where we expected high of him. Because he had a good rookie year, he really did. I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
But year 2 was a downfall due to his drops and due to running poor routes. And Byron Pringle like just doesn't do that. The dude runs really good routes. I don't think I've ever seen him, at least yet, drop a pass in a game that matters. I know in that Colts game I go back to with you guys a couple of years ago, he made a great play at the end of a game that we ended up winning on a field goal, I believe. But anyways, I was just thinking about that. I'm like, you know what? That's the guy that I think deserves the most play time at this point because his production has definitely prevailed. And this is also a dude that he wasn't taken with the beginning of the second round pick like Mikkel Hardman was. He's just played better. He's a better football player than Hardman at this point.
And don't be surprised either, by the way. Like you're talking about right here. Don't be surprised if Pringle sneaks into this 2 by the end of the preseason. By week 1, he could sneak into this 2 spot and just blow it away.
Yeah, I want the best guy on the field.
Yeah, I'm not going to be upset either way. I mean, I love both of those guys. It's just kind of like I always thought that it was going to be Mikkel Hardman as the guy, and I still believe in him.
Mm-hmm.
And I still I think that it'll happen, that he'll be the number 2 guy, but I'm not going to be upset by any means if it's Byron Pringle. I mean, I want to see the best player win that position.
I'm not going to be mad either way.
Yeah. Well, do you guys have any final thoughts going into week 2 here before we saddle up with some fantasy discussion?
Well, hey, real quick here. Today was the last day of camp. Training camp ended today.
Yes.
So, another props up there. They do it the right way, and so it's a fun time when we go. So we'll have to attend next year. They also made their first round of cuts here the other day. So we waived injured the following players: tight end Evan Bayless, wide receiver Antonio Callaway, who we talked about a bunch in our show. They're both gone. They waived defensive back Manny Patterson, released wide receiver Chad Williams, and they placed running back Elijah McGuire on the injury reserve because he has a sprained ankle. So I think they're just keeping McGuire. I like to call it the Tyler Bray status. We put him on IR and you just keep him away from people.
I think the Chiefs know he's very replaceable, and it's a guy that was not going to make the team anyway.
No.
Yeah, when you have a guy like Elijah McGuire that used to play for the Jets, which I like to call a minor league team in the NFL, you're just going to get rid of him. But I mean, he was never going to do shit on this team anyway.
You're giving away your secrets now for your TikTok videos later, Jason, because we're going to be talking about our AFC East predictions. And so
I did give away a secret.
You gave away a little secret of where you're going to have them ranked when it comes to the AFC East. So that's pretty interesting. You call them a minor league team. So
that's impressive. That's impressive.
All right, you guys. So we're going to play a little game here. Well, first of all, let's do something real quick. I want to talk to you guys real quick about a little bit of strategy and how you guys want to approach the draft this year. So just from my perspective, I am picking in our league. I'm picking 8th. Tanner is picking third. Jason, you're picking
12th.
Dead last in our league on this one. So we're kind of mixed all over the place, I guess, in this situation. But I've always been a huge proponent of doing the 0 RB strategy. It's worked out well for me in the past because in PPR leagues, I just basically say, screw running backs in the beginning. They always get hurt anyway, and I'll just pick up your guys like the Austin Eckler's of the world later on in like the 4th or 5th round, somewhere around there. And I've always done that. It's always worked out pretty well for me. Meanwhile, I have receivers like I got Julio Jones and Hopkins on the same team and so on. And I love that. Like I love having elite receivers on my team that are guaranteed to have, 80 to 100 yards and maybe a touchdown here and there. But this year looks different to me. This year in particular, I don't see the depth anymore at running back to where I can do PPR and be able to wait on a running back. I think if you guys out there that in PPR leagues and you want to do the RB0 strategy, you might be Google searching here and there every once in a while. I think that's out the window now. I think this is the year where the tide officially turns, and I actually see more teams using their third down / scat backs now as starters. Like guys like Myles Gaskins, guy we talked about, that's not a starting running back, but he's being used as a starter now for the Dolphins. There's the situations right now where these guys who are not meant to be pure starters are going to be getting more of the full workload, but it also devalues them because they're moved up in the rankings. We're going to be getting guys like Gaskins later on, normally in like probably around 8 or 9, in most situations as a PPR threat. And I think now we're just looking at some of these teams, even though running back by committee is still very much a thing in football. I just think receivers are so deep right now, and you can get 1,000-yard receivers all over the board. Just get your running backs early, and then you can hammer home some of your receivers. Because I know for me, I'm looking at my draft board. I'm absolutely saying I've tried this. I've tried taking Tyreek Hill in the first round at 8th overall. When it comes to drafting a running back at that point, I'm screwed. Like I end up with my RB1 ends up being like a J.K. Dobbins. I don't get another one until like round 7, and it ends up not working out very well. So I'm telling you guys out there listening, I'm all on board on going running back early this year for the first time in like 7 years. So what are your guys' thoughts on the strategy?
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I agree with you on the fact that wide receivers run deep this year. And I think it depends on what type of league you're in, too. I mean, if I was in a standard or a half PPR league, I would want a well-balanced team. So I'm not drafting for position. I'm going to take the best player available. But if you're talking about our league that we're in right now, which is a full-point PPR, it's a little bit different for me. I've always been in love with the RB0 strategy, and I've never changed my opinion on that because you want as many receptions as possible if you're in a full point PPR. But what I like to do is kind of a modified RB0, where I say the first 5 rounds, I'm not necessarily going to take 5 wide receivers. I'm just drafting for receptions. So it could be a running back, a tight end, or a wide receiver in the first 5 rounds. Whoever I think is going to get the most receptions. So just to give you an example, Alvin Kamara. Even if I'm doing RB0, I can still draft a guy like Alvin Kamara because he's going to get a lot of receptions. And so that's kind of my strategy. I mean, having the 12th pick this year is a little bit different for me because I could very easily go with Davante Adams and, another really good wide receiver like, say, Tyreek Hill. But those guys are probably not going to be available. But I would totally do it. If I get Davante Adams, Tyreek Hill in the 12th and the 13th pick, I would totally do it. Probably not going to happen this year. So what's going to happen in our league is I'm probably either going to go running back, or running back, wide receiver. But you got to leave your options open, especially if you got that 12th pick overall.
Yep. No, that's fair. I agree with you. I think 0 RB is not going to work, especially at my spot at 3, guys. At 3.
Oh, well, yeah, you got to take a running back.
It has to be a running back, obviously. Yeah. But I think with that being said, like my team is actually going to have to maybe be the first 2 out of the 3 rounds, be a running back is who I'm going to have to take. And that's kind of what I've been trying to balance between. Like if I take one here, how long can I wait before I get maybe a RB2? Or maybe some depth on that, and it's tough. Like Mike said, you get down to that 6-7 round. Well, there's not many guys down there in the running backs right now, so it is tough to kind of balance that. But for me, definitely running back the first round, and then kind of Jason, your strategy here. Really, who's the best available of the pass receptions, pass catchers? Who's going to get the most targets?
Well, that's like so Tanner. We know Derrick Henry's a great running back, and he's top 3 in the league. But you don't want to take him in PPR.
I don't think he's a guy you
because
take at 3.
He catches like 12 passes a year. So
because he just runs the ball.
Right, he's a great rusher, but his PPR is not worth the value.
It's not going to help anything.
Right, so
he's one guy that's going to drop. But you got guys like Saquon Barkley, for instance, is coming back. He could get some time. Some potential receptions there, so it's a tough year. I really think just because there isn't that depth at running back, and you got to be really strategical on your team because you can't just have shitty running backs, right?
Yeah, and the other thing too,
you can't have shitty running backs.
Those first 2 rounds, like honestly, take the best fucking player. Don't look at the position. You want to take the best player available in those first 2 rounds because that's where all the value is. So nobody out there listening wants to fuck up the first 2 rounds of their draft because that could make or break your season.
Yeah. The biggest thing to me is the drop off in points because with running back situations, if you look at guys like last year, we had Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry had a great year. The drop off in points is so drastic from the top 5. to the next level of like underneath them, the next 10 players, they drop off like 150 points
by far.
Between the top end and then the middle range there. And so that's why it's so important to nail your running backs while you can early on and make the most value with it. Because receivers, there's not as much discrepancy there between them. That you see receivers, your top end guys, putting up a certain amount of points, but then the next guy underneath them is maybe like 5 less, 3 less. And they're all real close, jumbled together as you go down the list. So you can get those guys and kind of almost play the matchups in a lot of ways and receivers and do things that way. I mean, Jason, you took Patrick Mahomes early last year in the draft. He ended up, I think, scoring the most or the second most in our league. But, still it was a thing where it was worth it because the drop-off in quarterback points from Mahomes, Rodgers, and Josh Allen to the next level was also a big difference because of the amount of rushing as well as passing touchdowns he gets.
Yeah, but I think with quarterbacks, I mean, for me, Kyler Murray is the guy I'm going to look at because, like, his upside is just unbelievable. And so if I could figure out a way to even get Kyler Murray in late second round, early third round, you're going to get huge value, I think, there because, I mean, he could be the QB2. I know a lot of guys out there have him as the QB2 this year behind Patrick Mahomes.
Well, it's a weird strategy for me, guys. So tight end, you guys know I like to take tight ends early.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
You like tight ends the football kind.
The tight ends, the football kind, and maybe some others.
Do you like Kay Adams tight end, by the way, on the Chiefs broadcast?
How the hell did we land here, by the way? Anybody know?
I'm a big fan
tell me.
of whatever Kay Adams was doing.
If you're telling me Kay Adams is going to be on our screen every week.
And she was doing the downward dog with Chris Jones. I mean, who got lucky enough to get that job?
What the world? Oh, man. You see Butker in the background, too? His facial reaction, he was warming up, and he's like, it's just surprised looks like, what's going on over there?
Butker would. He seems like a horny dude. He'd probably enjoy some Kay Adams himself. So,
anyways, outside of that, please tell me how we got Kay Adams. Anyways,
Butker's got to be horny if he keeps missing all those fucking extra.
He's distracted by Kay Adams doing the downward dog.
He's looking on the sideline. Holy crap! This could be a bad year for him. But so tight end, guys. Tight end is a position you're going to wait for this year. It's going to be a waiting on. You get your 3 main, right? Your 3 main. Kelsey, Kittle, Waller. Outside of that, you can wait. Quarterback's the same way. And I think we do that normally, though, with quarterback. Is we preach it outside of Mahomes and Rodgers. You wait. You can wait. Guys, there's Stafford. There's Burrow, who should have a pretty decent year as well this year. They're way down there. You can get them closer to that 10th round, right? So that's not even a concern. You got to go playmakers right away. Running back, receiver, all day.
Yeah, you gotta wait on quarterbacks. You gotta wait on tight ends. Another guy that I would throw out there is Mark Andrews, Baltimore Ravens. I mean, maybe get him in the 5th or 6th round or something like that. Then you could go for him. But otherwise, you gotta wait on tight ends.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and focus in now on a different kind of topic. It's still fantasy, but we're going to debate on a few things. You guys don't really know who exactly I'm going to bring up yet, but we have some receivers, we have some running backs, and a tight end situation we need to debate. All of these players play on the exact same team, but are all ranked right next to each other on the rankings. So what we're going to do is I'm going to name off the players, you guys, and I want you guys to kind of debate with me for a moment before we move on to the next one. But our first one here is going to be with the Cincinnati Bengals. So we have an ADP right now of 25 for Mr. Rookie Jamar Chase from LSU, going against WR 28 T. Higgins. So there are 3 spots difference. T. Higgins is underneath him. Reports early on is that Chase has had early struggles in camp, but also Chase just needs to prove himself to me. I mean, Higgins already has at this point. Higgins also, he was targeted 108 times last season and had over 900 yards receiving. Only had Burrow for 10 games, so if you add Burrow in for the remaining games, this guy easily, I think, has 1,000 yards receiving for the year in a rookie season. So he was targeted, 5 or more times in every game he started in. So obviously he was very much used. The team trusted him. He was molded into the offense quickly. My thought is I think T. Higgins is the chosen one over Jamar Chase. What do you guys think about this?
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you on that. I mean, T. Higgins, 67 receptions last year. We all know that Jamar Chase is an elite talent, but that doesn't always pan out in the first year. With the guy like Joe Burrow, I mean, like you said, Joe Burrow plays the whole season. I'd say T. Higgins might have had 1,200, maybe 1,300 yards.
Well, that's a big one.
Last year's, I mean, he had 6 touchdowns. That probably would have been 9 or 10.
I say he was at least a 1,000-yard receiver if Burrow plays
easily.
the whole.
He had
whole
908 yards, and so I'm definitely going T. Higgins on this one.
I agree. I think T. Higgins is going to be your guy that you pick over this one. You got Tyler Boyd on the other side. So Jamar Chase, you're looking at a third option on this team right now. I would, alone, I agree with you guys, he'd be a 1,000-yard receiver. He'd definitely be up maybe a 1 or 2 touchdowns up. But I'm going T. Higgins as my pick.
Now, just to be clear, if A.J. Green was still on the team, we would all take A.J. Green, right? Because
he won't be injured or anything.
Such an elite talent.
Oh, yeah.
He would never be injured.
He'll
right?
play every
baller.
game, and he'll steal all the
He's
catches.
a big baller.
He'll steal all the targets.
Big
That'll
baller.
be
I don't
game
understand
over.
why they got rid of him.
They should have held on to him forever. Might as well.
Hey, also take note, too, a guy that took a lot of catches away from the receiving corps, Giovanni Bernard, with the Bucs now.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, I'm hoping Mixon just kind of gets more, but Jason's getting tempted over here to say something. We're not going to go there, Jason. And temper yourself. Down,
man!
All right, our next one here on my list here is a tight end situation, and I'm not going to answer yet. I'm going to let you two answer first, and then I'll go from there. We have Jonnu Smith versus Hunter Henry of the New England Patriots, both brand new free agent acquisitions. This is a super close one in my opinion. I don't even know what to think because I can't decide myself. I do have an opinion, but I want you guys to go first. Tanner, what do you think?
Right off the bat, Hunter Henry's an injured bum, guys. He's already injured this year. He's missing most of the practices. He's going to be another injured bum this year. You got to go Jonnu Smith. Jonnu Smith is going to be your breakout tight end player this year. He's going to be probably right in the top 8 of your tight ends as well this year. So I am going Jonnu Smith just because Hunter Henry's going to see the field maybe 7 games. He may not even play the first week.
Okay, so you're looking at these two guys. To me, they're basically the same player. And I think that's the reason why
Injured
Bill
bums?
Belichick, in some ways, I mean, they're the same age, basically, but I think that's why Bill Belichick wanted both of them on his team because he knew the odds, which is that one of these guys is going to go down. And so, Jonnu Smith, he's going to turn 26 this month. Hunter Henry, he's going to be 27 in December, basically the same age. I don't trust Hunter Henry to stay healthy, but on the other hand, Jonnu Smith, he's had injury issues as well. I'm going to take Jonnu Smith. If somebody's holding a gun to my head, no offense, Tanner. I know you don't like guns. I'm going to go with Jonnu Smith only because he's literally like 5 months younger. You guys all know on this show, I like the younger guy. So I'm going to go with Jonnu Smith.
I mean, here's the thing to me, Tanner. You're giving Hunter Henry a hard time. He also played 14 games last year, 12 the year before, and even in those 12 games, Tanner, with the Chargers, look, Hunter Henry has 3 years of production better than anything Jonnu Smith's ever done.
Because Jonnu Smith didn't really come out
I'm just saying,
until
Jonnu
last
Smith,
year.
the
He had
most
Delaney Walker in his way, pretty much.
Most he's ever had in 1 year was like 448 yards receiving for Jonnu Smith.
He's always been a backup. Hunter Henry was the starter and still couldn't stay on the field.
Okay, so last year in his full season as a starter with Jonnu Smith, 448 receiving yards. That's all you got out of him on a Titans offense that also lacked receivers. And so you have
A.J.
that situation where Hunter Henry in the same situation has 613 and 60 catches. So production-wise, Hunter Henry's a better producer when he's on the field than Jonnu Smith.
So this tight end basis, too, we got to remember Cam Newton. Cam Newton loved Greg Olsen in Carolina.
Loves him.
Who's going to be his Greg Olsen?
Well, to be clear, Cam Newton doesn't have an arm left to go on.
So he has to go to tight end.
He has to throw to the tight end.
It's going to be check down and tight ends all day. Yeah. Well, that's really all they got, too, in the Patriots. But that's besides the point.
Well, we're going to see a lot of 2 tight ends. I think these guys have come out kind of fairly equally as far as numbers go. But, I think that also, to your point about injuries, Jonnu Smith has an ankle sprain right now.
Yeah,
so
a day or two. But
we have
Hunter Henry's
issues
been out the whole entire offseason.
He played 14 games last year.
I'm just saying.
And still had over more yards and catches than Jonnu Smith.
2 different teams.
Sure, 2 different teams, but I mean
2
production-wise.
2 different offenses.
And Jonnu also was with, like I said, the Titans offense in a situation that lacked receivers, whereas in this situation...
Byron and Cory Davis. Well, who else do you need?
Cory Davis. We're going to go to Cory Davis, Tanner.
right, I'm
So
stretching.
to be clear,
I'm
you're
stretching
going
to the Corey Davis.
So, Mike, you're going with Hunter Henry. Is
Hunter
that right?
Henry's my pick, you guys.
Okay.
All right,
Over Johnny.
I
like
like
it.
the pick. I like the pick.
All right, next up we have a really good one. Actually, this is my favorite debate out of all these I have on my list here. Jerry Jeudy's at 29 versus Cortland Sutton at 32. So they are 3 spots away once again. For me, this was actually very close. I actually changed my opinion mid-research today.
Really?
I love Jerry Jeudy as a player. I think he's a great player. I loved, scouting him and all that from Alabama. I was spending time on, just everything, watching him, his film and all that, kind of seeing how he translates to the NFL. You guys know I was high on Jerry Jeudy. You guys already know that. Cortland Sutton, though, the dude is, first of all, bigger, but also production-wise, he's already proven it. He proved it in year 1 with guys like Joe Flacco on the team. Joe Flacco, Drew Lock were messing around over there, and then, he ended up missing all of last year. But Sutton had an amazing 2019. He had 1,112 yards and 6 touchdowns. And then Jeudy had 856 yards last year with 3 touchdowns. But, guys, Jerry Jeudy also had 12 drops. What's going on with the hands, you guys? You got to have the hands. I think Sutton is bigger bodied and is going to help more in the red zone than Jerry Jeudy. So I'm going to assume they're both healthy this year for the whole season. We're going to assume that. I trust Sutton at this point. I think Sutton is the safer option. I expect 1,208 touchdowns for Cortland Sutton. Sutton is my pick for this one.
All right. I'm going to have to disagree with you on that. And my biggest issue with this entire team is that you've got Drew Lock, Teddy Bridgewater. Nobody knows what the fuck's going to happen between those two guys. So, we don't know who the quarterback's going to be. I mean, I like Cortland Sutton, but he is coming back from a torn ACL. They've been easing him back into practice. Jerry Jeudy's a little bit faster for me, and so I know those guys are kind of even. But Mike, you and I always talk about a lot of times it takes the second and the third year before the receivers start to click.
Yes.
So
especially year 3.
Second year Jerry Jeudy, I'm going to give my vote to him. I mean, he's a little bit faster player, and I think Jerry Jeudy will have a better season this year.
Interesting. All right. So I'm going to go Cortland Sutton on mine, just for the fact that he is coming off that injury. So now he's due for a bounce-back year. And Judy's got to catch the ball at some point, right? You can't drop passes.
Sure. I mean, also having them two together on the field at the same time is going to take pressure off Jeudy also to be the number one receiver.
I think Cortland Sutton's also going to be, you can maybe compare him to a Demaryius Thomas.
Very similar.
Very similar because he's going in
same size.
Year 4, technically, right? Year 4. But he also his average catches in 18 and 19 were between 16.8 and 15.4. So the guy is getting the ball, he's getting downfield. Mm-hmm. And his targets in 19 was 124. So the guy's being targeted. He's going to be targeted again big time. Jeudy, I think Jeudy, if he struggles, there's guys behind him, underneath him, that can bump him up.
I just think Sutton's the safer pick at this point.
Yeah, bottom line for me is if you're drafting these two guys in fantasy, that Denver Broncos are going to fucking suck this year. So,
Well, they're going to suck, but I think they still have 2,000-yard receivers on their team.
Maybe, but
a great tight end and Noah Fant as well.
KJ Hamler.
Yeah, I actually like Noah Fant. I would take Noah Fant before either of these two guys.
Before? I wouldn't take him before, but value-wise, I would say Fant is a great pickup.
I'm staying away from the Broncos overall. That team fucking sucks.
All right.
I think if Teddy ends up being the starter, you see those guys have really good numbers.
I would like to see Teddy.
I don't trust Drew Lock yet.
Yes, so. I would agree with you on that. I would desperately want to see Teddy rather than Drew Lock.
All right, guys. Next up, we have Leonard Fournette at 34 on the running back chart. And then versus Ronald Jones at 35. So they're 1A, 1B on the RB chart right here. Fournette had an amazing, huge postseason last year where he ended up with 48 carries in the postseason, which was almost half of what he had for the entire regular season alone. Jones, though, averaged 5.1 yards per carry. You guys know I love me some Rojo. I'm all about that. You guys, last year, I gushed over him on the show. I talked about him weeks on end. I would show Tanner videos. We'd sitting alone. I just put on Rojo videos just for the hell of it because I was that obsessed with Ronald Jones. I thought he was that damn good. And Leonard Fournette cut into some of the carries without a doubt. He's currently listed as number 1 running back on the depth chart. But Fournette will steal some carries. But here's my thing with Fournette, guys. He had a great postseason, but he averages 3.9 yards per carry for his entire career. We give this dude a lot of credit here and there, where it's oh, man, you do the Jaguars, you were this or that. even last year with the Buccaneers, still was under 4 yards a carry. And Ronald Jones had 5.1. They want the more efficient running back. Get the guy who's going to get more bang for your buck down by down. This team, I think, is going to, without a doubt, favor Ronald Jones. Take Ronald Jones over Fournette. Just trust the process of Ronald Jones.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. In fact, Fournette, 3.9 for a career. Actually went slightly down last year. It was 3.8 yards per carry. So Ronald Jones is the guy for me. We already know what we're going to get out of Leonard Fournette. I think Ronald Jones could actually get a little bit better, and maybe we haven't seen his ceiling yet. Whereas with Fournette, we already know what his ceiling and his floor is. His floor is he could be an injured bum this year.
He very well could be. Now, Leonard Fournette could be the one who actually overtakes the starting spot. I think the coaches love him. He's coming off having a split backfield that has made him healthy. He's not being injured. So his targets in 2020 was 47 targets to Ronald Jones's 42. Something to think about too. So Fournette's getting out there a lot more. He's also getting targeted a lot more. That's just receiving. I'm not even talking rushing. I'm just talking about as a PPR guy. So you got to watch for, I think, Leonard Fournette this year, guys. I'm going to go Leonard Fournette on this one. Not to be different from these guys, but the fact that there's 35 or 36 receptions from last year, 47 targets, which is all more than Jones. The yards isn't quite there from what it was, but I still think Fournette is going to be, in the end, is going to be your guy.
Well, we will see how things prevail. As you guys know, I'm a Rojo guy, but all right, we have one more before we wrap up the show here, you guys. Chase Claypool of the Steelers coming in at 27 versus Juju Smith-Schuster at 34 currently on the rankings as a wide receiver. Claypool had 9 touchdowns last year, 870 yards. The team loves him. He's got great size. He's like 6'4", 235 pounds, something like that. Huge guy. But his catch percentage last year, you guys, this is bothering me the most, was 57%. That's not good. Compared to Juju, was it 75% on the catch percentage? So some of this can be taken into consideration because of the styles of routes they were running. I think Juju was running more underneath routes and as well as screens, stuff like that. But here's the thing, guys. Juju is a former 1,400-yard receiver. He did that just 3 years ago. And so he had 128 targets in 2020 compared to 109 for Chase Claypool. I love my Chase Claypool. He's a good guy. But at this situation, if I had to go with one or the other, I got the better value of Juju Smith-Schuster. He's my pick over Claypool right now.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'll go with Chase Claypool here. I mean, he should be at least a 1,000-yard receiver this year. I think Juju will be the number 2 option in a run-heavy offense. So, I mean, Chase Claypool as a rookie was fucking amazing. We don't always expect that much from a rookie wide receiver. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Chase Claypool this year.
Can I throw a curveball at you guys? Can I say neither? Deonte Johnson.
Oh, you're
God.
the Deonte
Johnson, baby.
I'm not getting into Deonte.
All right, fine. If we're going to decide for these two. So, Juju at once was considered a superstar, right? He was once going to be a superstar, and then nothing happened.
Look, he could revive his career right now. He came back on a 1-year deal, and he knows he's on a 1-year deal to make an impact.
So I am choosing Juju in the situation, just for the fact alone that he has something that he needs to prove big time right now. You're going in year 5, 6, 5.
He's still a young guy.
He's still a young
guy. And immature.
But the guy hasn't really signed a big deal anywhere, right?
Not yet, no.
No big deals. He has to perform. This is a make-or-break kind of year for him. If he doesn't perform, it's no.
Yeah,
I don't think there's a chance for a big
not sitting
contract.
here trying to hate on Deonte Johnson. I'm just saying his ADP is like 60, which is ridiculous. Like,
I'm just saying
he's not going to overperform that, but he might underperform that.
There's some
There's
potential upside.
confusion in the Steelers receiving group right now about who's going to stand out
There's
the most.
confusion in Steelers.
I say
anyways.
go with the veteran. It's my personal take here of Juju Smith-Schuster. I think he's motivated. I think that he's also guys proven himself. He still had 9 touchdowns last year, guys. Let's not act like he fell off.
He did.
Like, let's not pretend like he all of a sudden went to trash. No, he still had 9 touchdowns.
That's really impressive, though, that we all had 3 different players on that.
It's true. And we only had 2 to pick from. We still had 3.
That's great.
All right, guys. Well, anyways, do we have any final thoughts for wrap up the show here?
I don't have anything, guys.
Okay.
Well, I'm excited for Chiefs football.
I am absolutely pumped. Get ready for week 2 Chiefs Cardinals coming right up. I'm ready to see more Mahomes. I'm ready to see some Hardman out there and just get maybe Noah Gray plays better. We'll see, but altogether, I'm just pumped to get this thing rolling again. And football season is under full swing. So,
yeah, be sure to hit us up on TikTok too, guys, because if you're lucky, I might give you a couple of more little NBA takes now that we're in the NBA offseason.
We are coming to TikTok very shortly as soon as this is posted. So. Keep an eye out for our AFC East predictions. So with that said, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in and listening. Give us a follow, like, subscribe. We appreciate it very, very much. We'll be here all year long. Follow us on Twitter as well, of course, on at Sports Buffoons.
Yep.
And we'll go from there. So I will see y'all on the next one.
Thanks, guys. We're out.
See you guys.